All right, we are back. We're back with our third session on Miss Laveta Lampkin, our special guest for today. And if you have not heard the first or second episode, you need to go back and listen to those because it's some really, really good information. Not only for those that may have gone through this, but if you're going through some other kind of illness or
Right.
physical ailment, but just listening to her has inspired me, and I know it's inspired Joy, the fearlessness and the trust in God and the conversations with God that were so candid. And so I love that about your personality and the way God has created you, Lavita. And so I
Mhm.
just encourage everybody to listen to the previous episodes as we go into this last episode of talking about, what are some of the things that are maybe a little bit lingering after having an aneurysm.
Yeah.
Mhm. So is that my question?
That's
Okay.
your question. What's
Well,
hanging?
I
Well, yeah, and also, like I think of an aneurysm similar to, and correct me if I'm wrong, is an aneurysm similar kind of to a stroke? Sort of,
no,
kind of? No, not at
no.
all.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so I know an aneurysm is a brain bleed, and so there's stroke different. So this is where I need to do my little homework on all that.
There are some people that have had strokes that probably had an aneurysm, but with me, I didn't have a stroke.
Okay,
Yeah, praise God for that. I didn't want to have a stroke.
so I know because it's, anytime you got a brain bleed, though, my mother-in-law fell and had a brain bleed. I guess it wasn't necessarily an aneurysm, then later had a stroke. But just different things started to affect her physically, like her walking and just conversation and different things like that. So even in the very beginning, I know you slept a lot, but when you started
Mhm.
waking up, was your speech normal? Could you walk? I mean, was one side, did it affect anything? Was your vision blurred? I mean, what kind of effects did you have in the first, let's say, 6 months, and then maybe a little bit lingering that took a little longer to heal? How about that?
Well, I will say, and this is me talking, I will say that God's hands was really working with the physician because
Yeah.
when I woke up, my eyes were not blurry. Only problem that I did have, you see this left eye right here? It was and it maybe still a little, it was still a little down because this is the side that they did it on my left side. It
Uh,
was it was down just a little bit, and I think I was the only one that saw it because no one else saw it. And my husband's like, no, there's nothing wrong with your eyes. I said, yes, it is. Look at I said, yes, it is. Look at it. And then he'll say, okay, maybe a little bit, but he didn't really see it like I did. So it was just a little bit from my eye. Nothing happened with my hands, my feet, my legs, none of that. But I will tell you, when I was saying that they had the little things wrapped around my legs,
yeah.
it made all my veins look red, if that makes any sense,
Uh,
because it was like too much heat, I guess, because they wanted to make sure that I was okay. But I didn't have any problems as far as not being able to walk. I could walk. I was just a little tired because of all the medicine that they had been giving me. And so it did make me want to go to sleep. But when I was laying here in the bed, I just take my medicine and go back to sleep, wake up, go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, that sort of thing. So and my family didn't even have to help me with that, even though my husband was right there going, like making sure I'm okay. I was like, babe, I'm all right, don't worry. And I would just go in there, do what I need to do, and come on back out and lay down. So I never had a problem, but this eye, that's it, just this side. And see, my scar starts right here in the top of my head. And that's how I end up with this
um,
all this hair that's growing up around my head right here because it's covering up the scar. So
gotcha.
a lot of people say they can't see it. I mean, I can see it so clear,
Mm,
but they say they can't see it. So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
so now I have one of those little Eddie. I call it Eddie
Yeah.
because it's covering up the scar because I didn't have that before. And so,
They call that like a widow's peak or something. Is
Widow's
that
peak,
yeah, but I call it Eddie.
Eddie
Yeah.
taking it back. She's taking it back.
Yeah, I went way back.
Joy,
And so,
thank you for rephrasing that question because I feel like I kind of came in wonky with that. So, but thank you for
no.
rephrasing that and allowing her to like really go into that answer. Wow. It almost feels like your whole experience was what we would consider the middle, because our whole theme is meet me in the middle. And what is your middle? What would you describe has been your middle in this whole ordeal?
Yeah.
I think if I had a middle, it's that I was rescued. It's like a rescuing of somebody who probably was having some downtime, some sad moments that you won't share with anybody, being really stressed out and you won't talk about it. You just try to smile about it. So I think it's a rescuing. So I may have been under pressure, but I think God rescued me.
So you're
Yeah.
saying before the event happened, you were kind of a little down, depressed, maybe stressed and stuff?
I'm saying I didn't feel like it, but I'm just saying that could have been my problem. I didn't feel like I was stressed, but
Right.
a lot of this stuff come from being so stressed out. And something could have brought me to that point in my life that I'm trying to figure out, and I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm saying, Lord, where was my stress at? Who did it to me? Why did this happen? And so I feel like that I was probably very, very stressed, but didn't want to accept it. Didn't want to accept the stress. That's when it's something that I should have just, I'm gonna say and I say this all the time: much success, no stress, and lots of happiness. Because if you have more success in your life and you're not so stressed, you can be happy, in the process. And so I would always say that if something happened, I say, okay, Lord, much success, no stress, and lots of happiness. Now I could have been stressed out about it, but I'm trying to bring myself from not being stressed about it. So I just started saying it: much success, no stress, and lots of happiness. And I still say that today. I say, Lord, you're there. I'm taking you. You going with me. And so whatever happens, I go to God. I'm sorry, guys, but I do.
Oh, don't be sorry. There's no apology for that. That's the best thing.
Mhm.
So what I love is, okay, so what I love about what you said, let me tell you, sister. So a year ago or so, my husband, Roger, had this very bizarre episode of
Mhm.
amnesia, and it
Mm.
only lasted, like I would say, it was less than 24 hours.
Wow.
And it was scary to me because he was happy and he was very compliant. I mean, there was nothing, he had no pain or anything, but he had absolutely no short-term memory. So if you said, go here, he'd go, what do you want me to do again? He couldn't remember just the very last thing you said. And
Right.
so he remembered long-term stuff, like, so he knew who I was. Anyway, of course I took him to the hospital because I thought he must be having a stroke. But anyway, I was reading about what brings that on, and of course there's different things they don't really know, but one thing can be stress. But I'll tell you what God just said to me. At the time, there were several things in our life, external things that were going on that were stressful. And so in my mind, I think God just gave his mind a break. I think
Mhm.
his mind needed a break. It needed a rest. And I know that sounds dramatic, so I can't tell you for sure that, but God knows when we need a rest. And
Mhm.
sometime he allows some radical things to happen to us to say, you need to stop. You need,
Mm-hmm.
most recently, I was under a lot of stress. I'm very, very stressed about trying to push forward in something. And I was praying about it and everything, but I was gonna, just keep stuff. And it wasn't anything bad. It wasn't bad. It was just I had a mission, and I wanted to go forward. God gave me a very serious dream, very serious, that I woke up in, and I thought, whoa, there's something about that. And God said to me, pause. I just need you to pause. And so I painted it. I stuck it above my bathroom mirror, and I look at that every day because I painted on this canvas thing. Because every time I feel like I gotta go fix it, I gotta go do it, I gotta go take care of everybody, then I look at that and he just pause and let me do it. And that's kind of what he was saying to you, like when I love that you said, I think this is in the last episode, he just said, God said to you, be quiet and let me do the work. And I love that. It's a similar thing that I just heard. I mean, because we don't even know. It's not that anybody even did something to us, but just the stress that we hold that we don't even know we're holding.
Right.
And that's what God, when you said God rescued you, you're speaking to me, sister. That was good. I think we all need to hear those kind of words, that in bad situations, sometimes it is a rescue from God. And there's not always enough taught about that either. Because I don't think God just brings awful things on us, but I do believe he allows things to happen that give us that pause, that rest, that quiet space. So yeah. Okay. Thank you. I'm filled with what you said, and I'm speaking it back out into the atmosphere for myself.
Yeah.
It'll get in my head too.
Yeah.
The depth of several things that you said, and I'm just piggybacking on Joy and probably, but just being quiet when God told you to be quiet in church, and you said that he was just rubbing your head and basically repairing you. You know what I'm saying? Repairing you in so many ways. And then we talked about being rescued. Yeah, that is speaking to my heart as well, because I am a control freak and I'm a nervous Nelly. I think that all of that has been passed down through my DNA big time, and then I probably cultivated it big time. And so the Lord is teaching me. And Joy said something this morning, and Joy, I passed it along to the ladies group that I go to every morning. And Joy was like, "Look, I wonder if can I share, Joy, what you were saying?"
Absolutely, yes.
Joy was sharing with me this morning that the Lord had her sit down and just talk about all the different people that she needed to forgive.
Oh.
And she just had that come to Jesus moment with the Lord. And she said she felt extremely, just the burdens were lifted, the tension was lifted. So I sent that out, not with your name, Joy, but I sent that out to my friends as a challenge this morning, to sit down with the Lord and go through the people that you need to ask him to help you forgive. See how that lifts things off of you. And so the ladies have been hitting me back like, oh my gosh, I needed that. Thank you so much. So Joy, thank you for sharing that, because that's something that that I need to sit in my prayer room and do.
Well, there's a book out called Your Body Keeps the Score. And the thing about it is your body does keep the score. And I was having severe, in the last 2 years, I've had, Laveta, I've had a lot more back pain than very chronic, but then I'm through a lot of that middle ground, thankfully, thank God, to the other side. But God has taught me in that when that comes back on me, I got to pay attention what's going on. and I had stress was building up, and it was manifesting in back pain. And all these things, like I said, I wanted to do. I wanted to push forward, push forward. I'm like, these people aren't getting on the stick. I got to do it, you know. Of course, it's up to me to do everything, right? You know, and nobody's going to do it like us, right? That's what we think anyway. So when I began asking God to forgive people who had disappointed me, who had wounded me in any way. First of all, I asked him to forgive me, but then I began one by one naming people individually for just disappointing. It wasn't even a horrible thing, you know, it was just, but there were disappointments and, you know, expectations that were, you know, dashed and all the things. And I am not kidding, the pain began to lift.
Wow.
As I began to forgive others. And I said to myself then and there, I said, it is not worth it. Whatever anybody has done, whatever anybody has done to me or to any of us, it is not worth it to hold that, because your body will keep the score, and you'll be the one, you know, that's in severe pain. And so it's just not worth it. And sometimes we don't even know that's what we need to do, which is why I say thank you to you, Laveta, because you're helping us see you didn't know even maybe how, you know, things had gotten a little bit more stressful than you even realized. But God knew what you needed, you know, and so it's no accident to me. And I don't know why for some he takes on home, and then some he says, no, I'm gonna leave you here. I'm just gonna give you a rest, and then you're gonna come back to life. But yeah, I thank God that he's brought you back to life, really.
Yeah.
Let you see your sons grow up and, you know, be with your husband. And are you still teaching?
I am. I'm actually a college professor. I teach English, and
Okay.
believe it or not, I teach seminar also. And and I got so much going on that I'm thankful for. But I do have one problem that I do have, and a lot of people don't know because I don't say anything about it. And that is the person's name. You know,
Okay.
like even though I know you, like you guys, I know, I wouldn't forget you. But you know, some people I don't see for a minute, and they go, "Hey, Sister Lampkin," you know, and I'll be like, "Hey, sweetheart."
But you know what? Let me add something to that, Laveta. More people know you than you know them. So give yourself some slack.
I know, but believe it or not, when my husband was in the conference office, I went to every church. So I know who you are. I just couldn't call your name out. It takes me about 30 to 40 minutes. And then I'll say, oh, that's Stephanie. And I'll be like, oh, because for a long time, I didn't remember Jennifer Aniston. I couldn't remember. I said, Lord, I know her. She played on Friends, but what is her name? Oh my God. I just kept saying that, God, what is her name? And then finally, I sat there for like 30, 40 minutes and it said Jennifer Aniston. And then I said, Lord, help me with these names. Because I was real good at remembering credits, who was in it, in the movie, what happened at the end, all that kind of stuff. And then to not have that. And I said, some days people be speaking to me at church and I'm looking at you and I'm going, why is she gonna think I'm crazy? Because I'm trying to remember her name. You see what I'm saying? So they think you don't want to talk to them when you're going through a process. You know what I'm saying? I said, okay, Lord, just help me. So by me talking about this whole thing, guys, believe it or not, you guys have been a blessing to me. That is actually helping me to actually remember stuff. Yeah. Remember what I need to remember.
Good to remember, even the painful things. It's good to remember so we can thank God.
Yes.
For what he got us through. He clearly said that all the time in the Old Testament. He goes, pile up these stones and don't forget, because I want you to remember what I did for you. Make an altar here, do this. And tell your children and their children and keep telling the story of God's grace. And so sometimes it's good to remember enough about it so we can keep sharing the goodness of God, you know? But now, do you have trouble with like directions? Like when you're getting in the car, do you have to think, oh, I don't remember where to go?
Never.
Wow.
I do
Wow.
not have that problem. My problem is somebody's name. So
Okay.
that's why I say sweet and baby until it comes to me on who it actually is. And then I'm so thankful to God that he did not take my English out of my head, that I'm able to still teach that
Yeah.
with no problem and actually help the students to actually learn. And so I'm thanking God for that, because I could have been where I didn't remember anything. I was lost. And I'm telling you, I prayed and I
Mhm.
talked to him about it. And he has helped me out big time. Big time.
And do you
I
have to go for follow-up scans or anything like that?
not anymore. Not anymore. I had to, well, I will say this, that I do have to go back, well, where you go to the doctor, they check you, make sure your leg's okay. I still have to do that, but I don't have to get an x-ray or
Okay.
anything like that. But I still do have to go back as far as my medication is concerned. And then I started saying, I'm not taking metformin anymore. And so I kind of took myself off of it and, stuff like that. So I do have to go back for that reason.
Okay. And did
My legs.
they give you medicine that you'll take the rest of your life for to keep you from having an aneurysm, or no? Is there no?
No, because I have a chip in my head that actually makes the blood flow go through. And so
Oh,
now
okay.
what you could do is get an aneurysm somewhere else in your head, but I wouldn't get one on this side anymore because
Okay.
because
Look at
yeah,
that.
the chip makes the blood, and then you have to lose weight. You just can't be as, like some people don't see it. Like there's some people who are very, very heavy and they don't have any problems. But then
Mm,
some people who probably were skinny at the time and then they gain weight, then now you got to think about it, because you can get an aneurysm in your stomach. You can get, in different places. Mine just so happened it happened in my head. I hated that. But because I said, God, I really want me some ice cream. I really,
Oh,
I
God.
really would like to have me some ice cream,
And what is your favorite ice cream?
vanilla. But believe it or not, I'm so simple.
Really?
I like vanilla ice
right.
cream.
Okay.
Good
Yeah.
vanilla ice cream.
I
That's
know a lot of people want some Rocky Road or some butter pecan or some strawberry. I just like vanilla. And I think the reason why I like vanilla is because my grandfather used to give it to me when I was younger. He would give me a scoop of ice cream before bedtime. And I said, in my head, I said, why you just give me a scoop? He know I want 2 scoops, right? But that was my joke to him, but he was such a great grandfather that
mm.
that vanilla ice cream reminds me of him. You
Well,
know what
and
I
that's
mean?
comfort food. So that's your comfort food. That vanilla ice cream, your
If I
grandma.
could, I would like to eat
I know, I know.
it.
There
In
any
the
other
last
words
minute,
you would
okay.
say to somebody, going through this? What would you, if they were looking at you now and saying, Laveta, how am I gonna make it? What's a simple word or two, well, phrase or two, I know it's not a word. What would you look at them and say?
I would say if they were having the same problem, I would tell them to spend time talking to God, because He's the answer.
Mm,
Because without Him, you would never ever make it, because God has the
right.
last say on what's supposed to happen in your life. And
Yeah.
that's even when people feel that they're supposed to do something. The best thing to do is to go to God and say, I need you to lead me where I need to go, because we always have our plans for ourselves. It's like when I said they was trying to get me to be a nurse, and I was like, I'm not a nurse. And God's like, no, you're not a nurse. And pulled me into being a teacher. You need to talk to God about your life. And even if you're sick, sit there and pray and say, Lord, help me. I'm leaving my life to you. And
Mm.
God will lead your life on how it's supposed to be. Because other than that, none of us will make it. None of us will make it. You need God in your life.
I'm
Yeah.
writing down your quotes.
That was a sermon. Thank you, sister. Oh, what? I'm
Yeah.
serious. I'm serious. That's a serious sermon. And yeah, we'll talk after we close.
Because God gives us our 6 days to do and have fun and to enjoy. And on that seventh day, just go and worship and talk to God. I mean, you talk to him every day, but I'm just saying, spend your time, do what you're supposed to do. And I think God is our leader. I really do. I mean, I tell my students, as soon as before we even start class, I pray. I said, Lord, help us to make it. All of us, not just from me being the teacher, but I want my students to make it as well.
Mhm.
And that's the thing. We have to go reach out to God, and God will hold your hand all the way through. So
Amen.
I'm thankful that he held my hand all the way through, because I would not have made it without God.
Mm.
Well,
I'm
you
thankful.
are a beautiful miracle.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
You're a
Thank
beautiful,
you.
and
Thank
again,
you.
you not look like what you've been through. And when God tells us to rest, it is to restore us, and He has restored
Yeah.
Mhm.
He
Thank
restored my life. And him, y'all just don't know. I'm gonna probably sit here and boo-hoo after I finish with you guys, because I'm so thankful to God. You just don't know. I wake up and I say, thank you, God.
you.
You
Yeah,
helped me. Thank you.
yes.
Yeah. And you know what? It reminds me, he did it once, he'll do it again. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
keep thinking too. There's other things that we'll probably all end up going through. We've all been through, our own trials and suffering or whatever. And you think, I never thought I'd make it through that. I don't want to go there again.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I mean, there's different things that are just the rhythm, unfortunately, of being on this earth right now. But what you're telling me today just reminds me he hasn't stopped. He'll keep doing it. He'll keep helping
Mm-hmm.
us.
Fully in
Keep doing it.
Lindsay,
Thank
you
you.
got anything else for us?
Woo! I'm trying to make it to church tomorrow because I feel like I had church already. But
Praise God for
yes, thank you so much. I'm full. I'm full. I know that you're saying that you might cry after we finish, but I'm full with you. I
Mm,
know Joy is too, because
mm,
it's been such a blessing to
mm,
be able to sit and talk about the dips and the shifts in life, and how God maneuvers and walks through every single part of it, because we're that important to Him. So
yeah,
just thank you for sharing. Thank you.
absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
you know.
Thank you guys for having me on, and I'll be happy to come back again. I don't have to necessarily talk about my aneurysm. We can talk about some other things, and so
There you
you guys are
go.
actually simply a blessing to me. Thank you so much
I
for
can't wait to meet you in person.
inviting
And you're a Meet Me in the Middle alumni now. So it's,
me.
it's a special group. Hey, speaking of everybody out there listening, don't forget we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, Facebook. We have a Facebook group. So go on YouTube, please like, follow, subscribe, click that bell so that you get the notifications when a new video pops out. Go on Facebook to our Facebook group page, Meet Me in the Middle, and you'll see, just the activity along the way there. And like us, please share, encourage others to listen. We just want this to be an encouragement to everybody. That's when we do what we do. God has blessed us, and we want to pour out the blessings that He has given us, pour them back out to others. So thanks for tuning in. See you next time.
Bye, guys. Have a great day.
All right.